So basically, the health and safety at workplace means what are the safety measures that one should take while working in a factory setup or in an office. There is a basic idea regarding what are the safety measures that we should take in order to protect ourselves from injury in a workplace. That is the idea behind the health and safety at the workplace. So the workplace safety is an important for each and every employee in industry, because all the workers decide to work in a safe and protected atmosphere. And this is something not a big problem for most of the people. But just think of people who are working in a mine. You might have heard about mine accidents several times. Even if a small accident, a small fire took place in a mine, it usually results in death of a lot of people. So, in order to make the lives of people safe, certain rules has to be followed, which we have learned from our past experience, and that has to be strictly enforced. If any one individual is doing something wrong, that will be costing the life of all the individual. So, being able to work in a safe and protected atmosphere is one of the basic rights of every individual. Health and safety is the key factor for all industries in order to promote. പേര് പറഞ്ഞോട് എന്താണ്? നമ്പർ പറയും 805 അല്ല, ഇമ്മാനുവൽ അല്ലേ? എൻ്റെ എന്താണ് നമ്പർ? 8 ഒന്നുകൂടി പറഞ്ഞേ. സിംപ്ലി 32 മാത്രമുള്ള പേര് പറഞ്ഞത് എന്താ? റുക്കുമോൾ ആന്റണി. 732 അല്ലേ? Okay, please listen here. So, what I was telling you is that to work in a safe environment is one of the basic rights of every person or every employee. And health and safety is a key factor for all industries in order to promote the wellness of both employees as well as employer. Because if employer is not taking enough measures, what will happen is that sometimes that will be leading to injury, sometimes loss of life to highly skilled people. Now it is not easy for an employer. If you are if you are an employer, you are an entrepreneur, you have certain good workers. If you lose one good skilled worker, it may not be easy for you to replace that worker within 1 month or 2 months. So loss of an employee or loss of a worker is also a great loss for the employer also, because he needs to train the employee for several months, sometimes several years. So workplace safety is therefore important from the point of both employee as well as from the point of employer. It is a duty and moral responsibility of the company to look after the employees' protection. They have a moral responsibility and also legal responsibility, because if they are not giving adequate protection, that will be affecting the life of people working in that situation. Now here you can find a chart in a work, what are the factors which are coming under in a work safety, and there are a lot of aspects are the injury to the employee, what are the regulations to be followed, what should be the kind of environment the person is working, and what are the normal hazards which are affecting the person so this is that means every employee and every employer must have an idea regarding these various situations. What are the hazards or what are the dangers in that particular work field, and what are the precautions or protective measures one can take in such an environment. So this is a chart showing the various aspects of work safety. And so here you can see that if you are rewarded for working safely, because if you are not working safely, sometimes it may be loss of life. That is why if you work safely, you will have it tomorrow. That is the meaning of the sentence. So each and every person who leaves his home from his work in the morning should come back to his home in the evening in good health. So only if you have been in a family who have been affected by an accident like this, you will understand how painful such an event will be. So one person is going from his home in the morning and finally in the evening he or she is coming back as a dead body. Then it is really hard or painful for a family to accept. You might have seen such incidents daily in TV. Some people will be dying somewhere in India or somewhere in Kerala due to several accidents. So that is why workplace safety is an important aspect for every individual. നിങ്ങൾ നമ്പർ ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് പോയിക്കോളൂ. അവർക്ക് തന്നെ അറ്റൻഡൻസ് വേണ്ട. ഞാനിപ്പോൾ തന്നെ ക്ലോസ് ചെയ്യും. ഐശ്വര്യ ബിനു നമ്പർ എത്ര? 801 301. ഓക്കെ. ഇനി തൻ്റെ ആര്? 11 അജോമോൻ. ഓക്കെ. ഇനി ആരും വരണ്ട, അവർക്കൊക്കെ ആബ്സെൻ്റാ. ഇപ്പം തന്നെ രണ്ടുപേര് വരും. അത്രയേ ഉള്ളൂ നമ്മുടെ സമയം. 9:45 വരെ ഞാൻ കൊടുക്കാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചു. അതുപോലും കൊടുക്കണ്ടെന്നാണ് പറഞ്ഞേക്കണം. പിന്നെ മാനുഷികമായ പരിഗണന. ഇനി മാനുഷികമായ പരിഗണന എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എപ്പോഴും പാരയായിട്ട് ഓരോ സാധനം. ഒന്നും ആർക്കും മാനുഷികമായ പരിഗണനകൾക്ക് ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ലെന്നാണ്. ചെയ്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ അതിൽ ദുഃഖിക്കേണ്ടി വരും. അങ്ങനെയാണ് എൻ്റെ ഒരു അനുഭവം എപ്പോഴും അങ്ങനെ. നൗ പ്ലീസ് ലിസൺ ചെയ്യാം. വൈകി വന്നെങ്കിൽ സംസാരിച്ച് ബാക്കിയുള്ളവരോട് കൂടി ഡിസ്റ്റർബ് ചെയ്യണ്ട. ഓക്കെ. So this is a basic reality that everybody is facing at some point of their life. Sometimes many families will be losing some important member in their family. So what we were discussing is that every person has a right to come back to his home safely in the evening. You get a call that he or she is in hospital, because this is a usual incident in many families in Kerala. So this is an important reason why workplace safety should be, because when a person is dying in a family, sometimes the earning member or the only person who has a salary will be dying. Then what will be happening to the rest of the family? If wife is not having any job or children are very small, that will be putting that family in a very financial difficulty, and that will be affecting the state also. If so many families are there in such situation, that eventually become a financial burden for the state. And what happens is that if children are not going to school, that will be leading to social problem. If they are not getting proper education, they may get into some kind of other kinds of activities like drug addiction or other kinds of alcoholism. That will be spoiling that family further and also creating more trouble for them. So that is why when every person has to be protected. Because if that protection is not given to the person, that will have a lot of not only economical problem, every economical problem will be creating a social problem. So that is how everything is working here. Now these days workplace health and safety procedures are important for the well-being of both employees and employer, because human loss is immeasurable and intolerable. So that is a basic idea that we can and a loss or injury can employ major loss to families, because we know that how the most of the families in Kerala and India are living. So one person is having a major accident, and if that person is taken to the hospital, and if it is a private hospital, most of the time people will be finally taking them to a private hospital. That usually takes 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh, sometimes it may be more than 10 lakhs. If that much amount is coming, that becomes a huge financial liability. Now, there is a general practice in many families, especially in poor families of Kerala, not taking any kind of medical insurance or not keeping adequate amount for medical emergency. You might have seen that poor families usually spend too much than they can afford. Now, if you just check a rich person like a billionaire, now I think you can take the case of Mark Zuckerberg itself. He's a very highly rich person, billionaire, one of the most famous billionaires. But I think he is living in a normal house, like a house of most of the people we live, and he is also driving a small car. But if that much income is coming to a poor person, they will be finishing all the money within a few years. So how to live effectively, how to live a proper life with the financial security is an important thing. So that is why how a medical emergency can create more problem to the family. This will kill. You see here, you can see that different type of emergencies and how people are not taking the proper measures for that. All industries do have a safety risk, but the management should devote their time to think and strategies what precautions are required in their company to make sure that their workers are safe in a forum, because this is an important liability, especially in large industries, in large factories. A normal employee or a normal worker cannot do a lot of things. It is a responsibility of the management people who are at the senior management level to chalk out or to plan what kind of methods or what kind of measures they should take so that the life of the people or life of the employees are always protected. It's a moral responsibility and also a legal responsibility for them. So management should confirm with all the workers related to their daily work and comforts. Especially we know that if you go to many factories in India, the workplace safety and workplace comfort are very poor. That is one problem. That is one important difference that you are going to experience when you are working in India and working in a Western country. Maybe if you may be doing a lot more work in a Western country in the same factory, but there the personal protection is little more. Here, even if you are doing less work, you may get less paid. And the other problem is that the whole atmosphere may be looking very dirty and also not a comfortable environment for the person. So this is a problem that we have to change. Only then we can change the image that India is a dirty. Because the Europeans first say that India is a dirty country. Because when we go to the roads and cities of India, most of the time our roads are not very well cared or not poorly maintained. Lot of waste or trash will be there everywhere. So that image is creating a bad name for the country, and that problem is also existing in our factories. In our factories, not everything are not maintained in a clean or in a comfortable environment. So that is the problem. That kind of problem can also affect the personal or emotional state of the worker also. So the management can take some step according to the by consulting with the worker what kind of changes we should make, because every factory has their own unique difficulties or unique problem. Only by consulting with the lower level employer, then only many of the problems can be rectified. This is actually a management problem, because if you work in certain offices or in certain, there are different types of management aspect. One is an autocratic type of management, other is a democratic type of management. Because if the one important advantage of the democratic approach is whether it is in a country or in an office is that If you are implementing some policies as in a democratic way, that will be having a longer impact. On the other hand, if you are following an autocratic approach, you can make a sudden change, an immediate change. But once you are out, everything will go back to another level. So that is the problem. So when you follow an autocratic approach, always think about that. What will happen after you are exiting? So if everything is going back into a trouble after your exit, then there is no meaning in putting such harsh measures. But in a democratic way, everything will be slow. For example, if you take China and India, in 1980, the GDP, there are people here in economics, the GDP of China was around $310 billion, 310. And at that time, India's GDP was around 275 or 280 billion dollars. So difference was very small. China was following an autocratic approach. Now, if government wants to make any construction, people have no voice. So because of the China developed very fast. Now the difference between India and China is that India's GDP is $3.75 trillion. And the GDP of China is 17 or 18 trillion dollar. You see the big difference. And China has grown very fast. But now what is happening in China is that there is a lot of social problems are there. Now there the government is trying to hold on to power at any cost. That kind of problem is not there. The people don't have a freedom. If you go to Canada or some other countries, you might be able to see that many Chinese families are migrating to Canada. They are not a migration of Indian families, where one member or two members maybe. They migrate by selling of everything they have, every asset they have in China and move to some foreign country. Basically because of freedom. So this kind of problem is there when we follow it. So here in the use of a management level also, this is an aspect that you have to keep in your mind. In a democratic way, things will be slower, but it will be lasting longer. That is a big but in an autocratic, that will be just opposite. Now, what are the risks? There are many employees who doesn't bother about the surrounding hazard. This is a major problem. You can see that some people don't care about their life. So if there is a person who is driving a car and he is least bothered about his own life, that person will be a hazard to himself and he can be a danger for other people also. So that is the problem. When you are not taking care of your own life, you can be a danger for yourself and a danger for your family and also a danger for your society. So that is a problem. So this always happens. Many employees are not taking proper protective measures, and that will create further problems for them. It is important to observe your co-employees' working circumstances, because if you want to remain safe, it is important that you take care that your co-worker or your co-employee is also taking the necessary protective measures, and that is also an important responsibility of every worker. Once you get to know about the particular hazard that occur at your workplace, then it will help you in reducing the risk and allow you to take precautionary steps. So once if you are in a factory or in a mine or in such a difficult environment, and you know what are the common dangers. So first thing that is coming under education and from experience, because in every factory or every situation there are a lot of senior employees are there. They know from their previous experience that this aspect has to be taken very seriously, otherwise that will be leading to a big danger. So that aspect we have to identify where there is a danger, what are the possible dangers that can exist. And that is one aspect of protecting our life in any environment. So identifying the hazards or identifying the risk in an workplace and is an important responsibility. Then we have the reduced workplace stress. Most of the employees are not fit and healthy because their busy schedule, which includes long working hours, work pressure and conflicts occur with the co-workers and with the boss of the organization. So this is a because this a workplace stress can also affect workplace safety. If you don't have a comfortable relationship with your boss or the senior management or with your co-workers, what usually happens is that even if you identify that some danger is there in your factory, you are not going to report it. So maintaining good relationship among the employee is very important for maintaining workplace safety. So if you are if you are a senior person in a factory and you are always treating your employees in a very bad manner, what happens is that the employees will not report some of the major problems that may exist in the factory. So finally, that big problems becomes will develop into a dangerous situation, and factory may sometimes go into fire or collapse. So that will lead to huge loss for the management. So this is the problem by keeping proper relationship. Keeping a stress-free environment is also a part of workplace safety. Because if you don't keep that, what happens is that you will not get the proper feedback. In the absence of proper feedback, the safety of the factory or safety of the workplace will be in danger. All this can lead to some illness or depression on the employee. So this is also an important part of the workplace safety, and this not only affects their professional life but also creates because nowadays what happens is that one important problem that you are going to face when you leave the college is that in colleges you are studying lot of topics, and after exiting from the college you may find that most of these topics are not good for you or not useful for you in your real life. You are never taught how to deal with an employer or how to deal with your co-workers. Sometimes from your college experience, some people may develop some insight. Some people may not have that. So when you are going to work in a stressful environment, what happens is that will be putting, because in most of the private offices you know that there will be some kind of target, and if you are not able to fulfill that target, it creates stress in you. And when you are stressed, normally you will be sharing that, you will be creating problems with your friends, with your family, and that stress will also develop in your family. So finally what happens is that you are not getting any kind of comfort either from your office or from your family or from your friend. So this is an important thing, how to manage stress, also an important part of the workplace. So instead of waiting to get unfit, it is better that you start taking care of your health by taking regular breaks and sit in appropriate posture. This is an important thing because in every workplace there is two important. One is mental state. Second is your physical state or physical health. Your mental health as well as your physical health. In order, because if you are working in, for example, you are in an IT job, you know that most of the time you are sitting. If you are sitting for a longer hours, maybe 3 to 4 hours continuously on a chair for a long time, that will be putting lot of strain on your back and you will have back pain in the long run. So it is very important that you have to take appropriate measures to keep your physical health as well as make yourself tension free or stress free when you are in your work. It will be better for you to schedule your work accordingly and manage things to reduce your workplace stress. See, this is the normal situation in many, but some people are very smart. Even if they are in a very highly tensed environment, they do everything quite fine. Some people will be having the just opposing thing. Even if everything is fine, they will be always in tension. So developing a habit of properly approaching work or properly approaching your target is an important part of living happy. So most of the people don't have this. That is why they are having problems in their life. So always make sure that you develop necessary personal and mental skills as well as emotional skills to live in an environment where there are a lot of demands. Because sometimes you may be getting very little money and that money may not be enough for you to live in a very comfortable way. Then you should think about how I can manage my expenses effectively with this income, or what I can do to get some additional income. So what people are doing is that when they have some kind of financial difficulty, they will borrow money from someone. The problem with borrowing money is that if you borrow money, you have to give it back. If you are unable to give it back in time, that will create conflicts with that person. Then what will happen? That will put you in additional mental strain. So always think about how you can live effectively with the income that you are getting. So living within our means. So if you know how to live within your means, many of the problems that you are going to face can be easily solved. Then use the right. Then here also in another aspect of workplace environment is using the right and equipment. Because for everything, see, you can see that there is a very simple example here is that this is a common practice we have seen in many workplaces. Problem is that if there is slight movement here, the person may. A similar kind of approaches are followed in many of the factories in India or many of the construction sites also. So using the right technique, right equipment or right tools can reduce the injury to a, for example, if you go to foreign countries, you might be able to notice that even if they are working in a garden, they will be wearing gloves. We never put any gloves. So advantage of wearing a gloves is a simple thing. It is not a very expensive also. That will keep your hand always in good situation. On the other hand, if you are working with the bare hands, the soil will be entering into your nail, and that will be also affecting the appearance of your nail after some time. So this kind of simple strategies we are very reluctant or very shy to follow. So that is also a big problem in our country. So taking appropriate precautions and also using the right machinery and tool. Nowadays you can see that now India is developing, you can see that even for fixing a screw, the carpenters are using some kind of machine. So that kind of improved technology can greatly improve the life of a workers in India. So taking shortcuts is the biggest reason behind workplace law. So these kind of shortcuts, this is a very simple shortcut, but problem is that if you are following such shortcuts, that will be always putting you in danger. Now it is a biggest safety risk to use scaffolding as a ladder or one tool or instead of another for a particular. This is known as a scaffolding. Now it is always recommended to use correct tools and reduce the opportunity of workplace injury. Then here the crises exist which are easily which are easily accessible. So in case there is an emergency, you will need to quickly access the exit, because only nowadays Indian government is being little more strict on this construction and site and following the emergency exit, because in many of the buildings emergency ladders will be available. But if they are not properly maintained, in case of a fire or in case of some earthquake, people may not be able to use that emergency exit. So always make sure that emergency exits are in a well-maintained situation. Normal accident audit should be done, environmental audit should be done. So because these kind of audits, one purpose of this kind of checking or auditing is that they keep these safety equipments in fire. If there is a fire extinguisher, for example, we don't see any fire extinguisher in our college, but a fire extinguisher is certainly needed here, because in case of fire, we can immediately prevent the fire from spreading by using a fire extinguisher. So such kinds of simple equipments has to be placed in every office that can greatly reduce the damages caused by a simple accident. Then this is also, earlier I told you about maintaining the proper relationship. One problem with not maintaining proper relationship is that your employees or your co-workers will not inform you about any kind of danger. So update your supervisor about the unsafe condition. So if you feel that certain things in your office or in your workplace are dangerous, you have to inform that matter to your management. Then the management should take the proper remedial measures. And these should be legally obligated to ensure that their employees are working in this. So it is the responsibility of everyone, because the employees should not think that they can easily replace one person with another person. But when one person is exiting, they are going with a lot of skills. For another person to develop into same level of skill, it takes months or sometimes years. So loss of an employee is always a loss for every employer. And in case if employees are not working in a safe condition, it is a responsibility of the supervisor to listen and understand their condition and create a safe environment for the employee. So this is also a part of important workplace safety. See, here you can find number of some cartoons are there. So this is one is an unsafe condition. Here you can see that there is some problem here. Then this is another big damage. Sometimes you can say big containers are lorries are taking containers. You know that never drive behind this container, because we cannot predict when this container will fall down. So this is another kind. So never take this kind of risk. It's a simple thing. So if they are not following these proper measures, that will result in a major accident. Then this is another small thing, but it can severe. Just see how they are using big shoes, and they are using these kind of small trolleys. But if in Kerala or in India, even in the same situation, people may be taking the tire with their hands itself. So that is why using mechanic, because if you are taking with the hand every time, that will be creating back pain for you, and there will be back injuries in the long run. So whenever you want to carry or lift some heavy equipment, you should use a conveyor belt, crank or forklift. This is known as a forklift. So they are simple things, but they can reduce injury to your back. There are a lot of risk involved if you try to lift something which is heavier. It can affect your weighing capacity and lead to muscle displacement. This is also because after a certain age, maybe after 25, do not lift anything heavy without thinking properly, because after 25, your back becomes more vulnerable. Like most of the people maybe sometimes doing lifting a gas cylinder. It is one of the biggest, at your age it is okay. But after the age of 25 or 30, never lift a gas cylinder, because these gas cylinders usually are the major trouble creators for the people, because it is in our home and we are lifting gas, because gas cylinders are usually very heavy. And if you want to lift a gas cylinder, they always take the help from another person at home, even if they are giving a small help. That can greatly reduce damage to your back, because once back problems are coming or developing, it is very difficult to treat back problem. So make sure that you are making appropriate tools for not harming yourself, because this is a simple thing. Always make sure that you are using the proper equipment. Always make sure that you are getting the proper support from other people. Then stay alert. Stay alert near moving equipment. See, here also you can see that hazards can come from any direction. We cannot predict from which direction they will be coming. There are many employees who usually compromise or ignore alerts of advance warning due to this, and that is one reason for many of the workplace incidents. So always make sure that you take the message that has to be followed. That is why stay alert. Then earlier I told you about reducing the work environment. We have to reduce the workplace stress also. So wear the right safety equipment also. This is another aspect of workplace safety. See, using the glove. These are all simple things. Using the gloves, using a bigger shoes, then using a ear protective mask, using a helmet, or using a air purifying device like this, or using goggles. These are all that can all help you in working in a safe environment. Then sit in a proper posture. Earlier I told you about working in an office job. See here you can see the correct posture. If you are not following the correct posture for a long time, for a 20 or 25, up to 20 or 25, it might not be creating any problem. But after that, because after the age of 25, your body will be aging. The growth is stopped at the age of 25. So after 25, make sure that you are maintaining your body correctly. Then otherwise that will lead to many kind of problem, especially with the not sitting in a correct problem. The back will be, or spinal cord will be affected. That will be creating lot of back pain. And here also you can see that there should be a correct height between this computer, your eye and the computer screen. This is another mistake you are following. So if you are using a laptop for a longer time, in the case of laptop, the height will be here. So you will be looking like this. There will be a forward bending of neck. That will lead to neck pain. So that is why using the correct posture. So if you are using a laptop, always use an external monitor, because that will be coming in an eye level. Because if you are looking into the monitor, a laptop screen every time, that will be creating problem for your neck in the long time. So these are some of the measures that you can do to make sure that you are working in a safe and protective environment.